excited to talk to you guys about productivity, which is a topic that, of course, is near and dear to my heart, specifically your energy rhythm and understanding what that means to you in order for you to maximize your business. So understanding your energy rhythm and what it means to your business is really important. And as I share on, you'll understand where I'm coming from. And first of all, let's talk about the myth, right? That only early risers can get things done. Well, I'm here, I don't want to say to prove you wrong, right? But I want to show you a different way to look at things, because there are a lot of us that are like, oh, well, I've never woken up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if I can get that done, right? Well, chances are, if you have not woken up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get things done, it's because you're not an early riser, and that's okay. So let's jump right in. I won't bore you with too many details about me, but basically I'm a New Yorker turned Floridian, if you can't tell with the accent. Here are some images of my family, whom I love, and of course my dog and a couple of other things that we have going on. I am a 25-year corporate refugee. I exited the corporate space so scorned, knowing that there was a bigger purpose for my life and that I needed to go and pursue that, regardless of where the money came from, regardless of where the clients were gonna come from, regardless of a pandemic hitting us 6 weeks after I walked away from my corporate job, right? I knew that there was something better for me, and that took time, and it was a process. And I'm sure that if you're here is because you're part of the Life by Design launch. And I shared a little bit about my story inside of my chapter, which is called Permission to Bounce Back. Part of me exiting the corporate space was that there was a misalignment with my mission and values. And when you have a misalignment with your mission and values, everything else starts to fall into place when you start to listen to your calling. So if there's anything that you can take away from today's presentation, I just hope that you're able to understand your body, most importantly, and how you can get things done in a way that doesn't feel icky or uncomfortable or challenged, because you are who you are. And there's nothing better than to be authentic and true to who you are. So we're going to be jumping in and talking straight about maximizing your business and minimizing the overwhelm. And that's going to be by discussing your energy rhythm. So what you'll expect today is understanding that ongoing battle to be productive. Keep in mind, productivity means different things to different people. We're going to jump into the 3 chronotypes. And of course, there's going to be a little surprise gift at the end. So stay tuned, stay on board. So productivity, there are a lot of people out there, whether you're in the corporate space or whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you're a stay-at-home mom, which stay-at-home moms work a lot harder than a lot of us, just saying. Productivity means different things to different people. What specifically does productivity mean to you? Does it mean getting more done? Does it mean being present for the things that are important to you? Does it mean you don't want to know what I've been doing the last 2 days, moving? But does it mean to be able to still get things done and not feel that resistance of, oh my gosh, I still have a never-ending to-do list, right? Productivity means different things to different people. What could be productive to you may not necessarily be productive to me, and that's okay. So when it comes to being productive, that feeling of being productive is universal. Have you ever heard when people say, oh my gosh, I was so productive today, right? And that comes from feeling accomplished. It's not necessarily that you were productive or not, because again, productivity could be something different to you, but you had a feeling of accomplishment. You knew that you were walking in your purpose, and productivity truly encourages a sense of that true purpose that you're feeling. So all day long, if you live in my world, we're all getting notifications, texts, Slack messages. Kim Ward, the producer of this book, oh my goodness, I don't know how she does it, but between social media and everything else that she's got going on, being a presenter, trying to coordinate this project, I mean, we're constantly living in a world of distraction. When we have our plate so full and something jumps on that you didn't plan for, it causes resistance, right? And it causes that negative energy in your life that now you feel resentful and you feel like you're not getting anything done, or it impacts your purpose where you feel like you're not feeling accomplished. It's okay. Guess what? the to-do list will still be there tomorrow. The laundry still has to get done. So there are certain things that you are able to learn to walk away from when you truly understand your energy rhythm, because there's going to be a point in time that you will be able to get it done productively, get it done efficiently, and be happy with the results. So when you're busy, you're really not being productive, right? So busy doesn't equate to productive. And when there are times that you're getting things done, but you're just not getting the right things done. I mean, I don't know if you guys ever wanted to focus on social media and then you start scrolling on TikTok. Trust me, I get it. I've been there too. So have you ever felt like you were working really hard, but getting nowhere? And this video was a perfect visual for you guys. I'm a visual person, guys. So this was a perfect visual to be able to show you what sometimes, not feeling productive feels when you're trying to do things not inside of your energy rhythm. So understanding when you can get things done, when you can work on specific tasks, or when you can do brainstorming is going to be very, very important for your own most productive state. So let's chat about understanding your energy rhythm. And I'm super excited about this topic because I used to be one of the believers that the early bird catches the worm, right? You can get more done in the morning. And considering I'm an early riser, it made perfect sense. But what I noticed was that as my body changed and as I got older and as the pandemic did all kinds of things to my mindset and my mental health and how it impacted the rest of my family, I knew that it wasn't the early riser that catched the worm. There were times I was digging for the worm at night, right? Or understanding what, if there was a quiet time in the middle of the day, that was the period for me to get things done. So I started to dig deeper and truly understand what it meant when I wasn't being productive in my early hours. And I couldn't figure out why. And this is what I discovered. And I'll share that with you in a moment, actually. I'd love for you to answer this question, true or false. So question number 1 is rising early allows you to accomplish great things before most of the world has even woken up. Question number 2, successful entrepreneurs tend to be early risers. Let's talk about what the science says. And then I'm going to share with you what I've learned through understanding my energy rhythm. And what science says is that night owls are more prone to negative thought patterns. If you're a night owl and you relate to that, I would love to know if you feel like you're a negative person, negative thought patterns. And early risers increase their chance of success. That was another scientific case study. If you're an early riser, I'd love to know, do you feel that you're fully successful? If you're a night owl, do you feel like you're not successful, right? So there's something there. Hang tight, I have more for you. There was a similar study that was found that students who preferred mornings to study, they had higher GPAs. But then those who preferred evenings had lower GPAs. So I'll tell you what I've learned now. What I've learned is about chronotypes. So a chronotype is your biological clock. And that's what controls your body's rhythm, your body's energy. If you're a morning person like me, I am very energetic. If you are an evening person and we both wake up in the morning, we live together, we wake up in the morning and I'm having a full blown on conversation with you, you're probably looking at me like, what are you talking about? I haven't even had my first cup of coffee yet, right? So understanding your energy rhythms is so important in every single aspect of your life. And you'll see why. There are 3 types of chronotypes. The starter, which is me, that's the early riser. That's very common and it sounds exactly like an early riser. The pacer, and then the anchors. Let's dive a little bit deeper in these. And I'll tell you this, it's really, really important for you to know what your energy rhythm is, whether you are self-employed, solopreneur, whether you are in a relationship with a partner, boyfriend, whatever the case may be, whether you work with a team in a department in the corporate space, or if you have a brick and mortar business or whatever the case may be, you have employees, you're part of a team. but most importantly, as a coachee. So if you're working with a coach, regardless of what specific industry it is, like personally for me, I'm a business coach. I want to know whether I'm working with you one-on-one or in my group coaching program, what is your energy type? I want to know when you can get things done. How does that relate to my content and what I'm delivering? And so that I can know how to coach you better, right? And then that way you also know how to coach yourself and how to, work with other people around you in your circle that are not like you. So knowing your specific chronotype will help you understand your energy rhythm and how to maximize your time so that you can always work from your most productive state, regardless of it being personal, business, or career. Knowing what that is really, really critical. And hang tight, because I will tell you more how you can learn who specifically you are. So the 3 types of chronotypes are the starter. The starter is someone who is that early riser. They are the person that are usually in their peak around 8 o'clock in the morning. For me, I wake up at 5, so my peak is around anywhere from like 6 to 9-ish, right? They account for about 15 to 25% of the population, believe it or not. The pacer is someone that has their energy midday. So in the morning, you're kind of dragging yourself a little bit, maybe in recovery mode. Then you start to get really energetic and getting things done. And then in the evening, this has now become like your evening slump. You might binge on TV or Netflix or whatever the case may be. And believe it or not, that accounts for 50% of our population. And then our anchors are our night owls, right? So our anchors are those that work all night, 15 to 25% of our population. And then they go through their slump in the morning. They cannot be spoken to. Don't talk to me too early. Haven't had my coffee yet, right? But then they go into their recovery mode in the afternoon where they start to do some work. It may not necessarily be meaningful, but it is kind of like their ramp up time, okay? So what do you resonate with? I'd love to see in the chats, do you think you're a starter, a pacer, or an anchor? I'd love to see a little bit more of the comments in a few moments. So the key thing here to understand is that regardless of where you are, what your chronotype is, there is a peak, there is a slump, and there is a recovery. And the slump, we usually call it the afternoon slump, right? But if you're a pacer, it's not an afternoon slump, it's an evening slump. And if you're an anchor, it's a morning slump. Don't talk to me, right? So understanding that is really, really important when it comes to being in your most productive state and in order to get things done, depending on where you are, whether it's in your business or career or whatever the case may be. So this graphic here shows kind of like a similar. So if you see, I'm a starter, right? So my peak is in my morning, my slump is in the afternoon, and my recovery mode, where I might still get things done, but more kind of in a chillax mode, or maybe plan for the next day so that when I hit my peak, I can start my day and just start rolling, right? The pacer is the next one, but the pacer and the anchor tend to be interchangeable, just so you know. Anyone that works with me, I have a couple of members on my team, they know that after like 8 o'clock, you likely won't find me. It's very, very, very rare. But when it comes to the pacer and the anchor, they can kind of alternate. If they stay in bed later a little bit in the morning, their ramp up time, might be in the afternoon. So the pacer might start working their peak in the afternoon. They're in a slump in the evening, and then they're recovering in the morning, and then so on the anchor as well. So the anchor's peak is usually the evening. And then, I'm not an evening person. So if you're an evening person, please answer this question. When you're done working, do you go to bed and fall right asleep? Because I can't. I need kind of some downtime. So I've always been curious about that. But the anchor, they go through that. The anchor goes through their peak in the evening. They have the morning slump. Don't talk to me. And then their recovery period is in the afternoon. So it's when they start to fuel up. It's like their ramp up period. So let's talk about cultivating energy rhythms. And these are some things that I work on with my clients. If you're brainstorming, and this is a real team, okay? This is not an example. This is a real team. In the event that we want to get together and we want to talk about brainstorming on some new ideas, This graphic tells you that the peak time is between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., which means that if you come to anyone about brainstorming at 1 o'clock, we're hungry. Like, we don't want to talk to you. Right? So the majority of the team, their peak time is between 9 and 11. But the recovery period, as you can see here, the recovery is the best time for creating tasks such as researching or generating ideas. So that could still be a good time for doing some type of brainstorming. The peak time, and I also, like you can see on the graphic, you can see some examples that the best time for intense focus is usually in the peak time. The next example I'll give you is data analysis. So data analysis and review shows very similar. Between 9 and 11 is when you're able to look at data, when you look at doing strategic plans and that kind of thing. And then lastly, designing. So when it comes to creativity and design, to turn on that creative side of your brain, this is where you start to look at your recovery period, because it is usually the most important time. So when you have a team and you're able to see the entire team aligned and see what the best time is to do creative stuff, then you know exactly where that is. So that is one of the important parts of knowing your energy rhythm. So answer this question. Do you still believe that the early bird catches the worm? So I hope I've convinced you. Now, productivity is within your grasp. Like I told you in the beginning of the presentation, productivity is truly what you call it. What is important to you when it comes to being productive? You know, like I mentioned before, I actually was helping my mom move this week in the last few days, right? But I still needed to get some things done. So what did productivity mean to me? Did it say procrastinate and leave it for another day? Not necessarily. It was more along the lines of, all right, this needs to get done, but I need to measure it and I need to work it at the most productive time. And that takes a little bit of time to get to know yourself and know your body. But it's really, really important that you know what that is. And I'm going to share with you how you guys get the assessment, because understanding your energy rhythm not only helps you maximize your time, it really also helps you live your life by design. And that's why you're in this group, because of our book, Life by Design. If you don't have it, you have to have it. You have to go grab it, because the stories that are in there can basically teach you that you can do this too. Okay. As a gift to you, I would love for you guys to take the assessment. There's a QR code on the screen. We'll also drop the link also in the comments, but feel free to take the assessment. And also when you're done with the assessment, you'll have an opportunity to book a 30-minute debrief with me. My calendar link is on there. It is a free call. It is a pitch free call. If there's anything that I can do to support you in knowing what your energy rhythm is and how you can apply it, and we can set up a quick plan on how you can work it moving forward, then that's what I'm here for. So I hope you enjoyed learning about your energy rhythm.